Okay, you just missed Liz's peals of laughter at something, maybe at my expense, but it's okay. Look, it's VSC day. Oh, I was like, I'm gonna keep hiding, but you're peeking.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning.
Welcome to the Sun Dragon Sideshow, the VSC channel today.
Continuing adventures of Liz and Rebecca and selling you yarn.
Yeah.
And notions and stuff. Hi. It's Wednesday. Wednesday means shopping day.
Yeah.
And why does it feel like the total squirrel moment? Why does it feel like the microphone is like, at least on camera, only on my side?
Because it's a little bit more on your side, and the computer's anyway.
But we're centered. This is so.
Well, look at the zigzags on the front of the butcher block, where the seams come together. You generally have it centered in between those two, but you can't see the other one because there's a bowling.
Yeah, and somebody moved the winder that this sits on to wind yarn yesterday.
I just moved it out. I didn't move it.
I just moved it back. You having fun yet? The Liz and Rebecca show. We had
it's us.
Yeah. No, the total aside, we got a comment yesterday of hey, and I was looking it up because shout out to Mary Lou. Love you. Who was like, you need to let Liz speak. I want to hear what she has to say. And I was like, whoa, okay. But we had a whole back and forth on Facebook comments about that. And she's like, I feel like I know you. So I spoke to you like I know you. Because I was like, what? But at the same time, I was like, but she might have been like, hey, you need to.
What you guys don't know is, off camera, I interrupt her all day long.
No, but well, here's the other. It was kind of a funny in all ways because I mean, in general, when you type a comment, it's hard to know how to interpret it for the other person, right? Like in general, you know. And I think Mary Lou realized that after she wrote it, and I was like apologetic in my response to her because what she said is absolutely true. But I wasn't sure if I should take it as like joking or not. And I hopefully didn't just cut you off.
No, I was done.
But this is also how we rapport. And I was joking on Knit Night last night that I should just not say anything.
No.
That was funny too. But no, but on the flips and the reason, like it was a good point and it was true. And B, like I was more off than usual. Not to say that I don't normally cut Liz off, because I do. But it was worse yesterday because migraine. Oh my gosh, yesterday was just.
She was dying most of the day. I should have sent her home, but we had Vikings.
So well, we're living in a pandemic, and since that was not an illness I would have worked through in the past, that now I would go home for. Like if I'm feeling under the weather, like run down, flu-ish type symptoms, oh my God, I would not be here. Right?
Yeah.
But migraine is different. Migraine is a known quantity to me, and I just work through them. But it means things I normally do are heightened, and I do them more, and I'm not aware that I'm doing them as much as I usually try to be aware that I'm doing them. So it was a valid point. And then, but the flip side of that, her second comment about how I'm sorry, like I feel like I know you because I watch you guys, and so I spoke to you like I know you when I don't. I was actually, that was kind of touching for me to be like, you know, people feel like they know us because they watch us, and that's kind of one of our hopes and dreams of this broadcast is that we're hanging out with you for a little while.
And so, this is us in real life, not just on TV. Like
we keep saying this is unscripted. This is ridiculously unscripted, as you can probably tell. Like I used to watch the shows on TV that are supposed to be unscripted reality TV, but you can tell, like, it's just like, hey, let's go do this now. I don't know, is so-and-so going to do this? And it would be like, really? really. I mean, I'd still watch them. It'd still be fun, but it was like, this is so not unscripted. And yeah, we sometimes talk before we turn the camera on about what we're going to do. Like we mildly plotted what we was want to talk about today. But sometimes I come in with a topic, like yesterday was, hey, I want to get back to crochet because we've been talking about it. And other days it's like, well, did we make progress on stuff? I guess we'll talk about it.
Not really.
So my takeaway from the whole thing is not only that I should maybe be more conscious of saying things that you have every right to say that I'm saying for you.
I'm okay with that because I'm still having issues with this. Like, she goes, Liz, vamp, and it's like deer in the headlights.
But also that, you know, people, I actually encourage people to comment like they know us. And if we react in the wrong way because it's hard to sense joking and sarcasm and things like that in comments when it's just written, that's social media's, like, one of social media's biggest ills, right? Is that you can't get inflection from a comment. But please keep commenting, because then we figure it out. And then and in some ways, because we're so far apart, sometimes that's the only way we communicate with each other. So, you know, we'll work on it. But I actually kind of love that people feel like they know us.
We should still introduce ourselves because we haven't done that.
I know. I was thinking that the whole time I started going off on this. I'm like, we didn't say hi. Liz, why don't you go first?
I'm Liz. I'm the minion at Sundragon Art and Fiber in Brevard, North Carolina.
And I'm Rebecca. I'm the owner of Sundragon Art and Fiber in Brevard, North Carolina. And we were worrying about competing with power washing outside, but we think the power washer kismetly broke right before we started filming, so we don't have to worry about it. So I don't have to shout over that, which is wonderful for our outside plaza.
I did try and fix like a buffer.
Yeah,
but it's not big enough to
soundproofing. It's about this wide. It's all of our samples on a rack that we were like, hey, let's have a rack for our samples when we got to the new shop. And then the only one we could we have too many samples, so they're all just cluttered on there and stuff. And yeah. But it's something I actually do feel like it's a little bit of a buffer, which is cool. And I was supposed to be like, hi, I'm Rebecca. I'm a recovering migraine sufferer. I'm better today. It was a long day yesterday, and I woke up in the middle of the night last night, you know, didn't get a full night's sleep, but I think I'm more coherent today. We'll find out.
I slept through the night and woke up freezing to death this morning and had a full blanket on.
How does that happen?
It got cold this morning. It was in the low 60s outside.
I was gonna say,
and I had all that air. I had all that cold air coming through a fan blowing straight at me. Mm-hmm. And we don't have our air on.
That's why I was asking, how does this happen?
Yeah. And so occasionally when the temperature gets really cold and damp outside, and then you have all that fan blowing on it. Oh, yeah. But if I had the air on, I wouldn't get that cold because I don't keep my air that low. So,
well, I had the opposite problem of Brian gets overheated at night. So the air is usually really low. 2 nights ago, it was low. No, maybe it's 3. All day Monday, like by the end of the day Monday, I was like, my feet are like, I feel like I have hypothermia, like frostbite, and my feet are falling off. And it turns out that the air had been down to like 65 or something. It was below 70 in our house, which for us is like ridiculous. And I was like, what? And if our couch is just off, the vent in the living room gets caught under the couch, which means it's going right on my feet. And Brian and I had this whole back and forth, and he's like, well, you've been home all day. So, and I was like, but you turned it down last night. And the result of that was last night, it was hot in the house because we turned the air up, the temperature up, you know. Anyway, that's the thing I have. My last aside, and we'll actually get to yarn. I promised we would never do this, and look, we're doing this. When people say turn the air up, it's like if we're turning the air conditioning stronger, or are we turning the temperature up, which means we're actually turning the air conditioning down. So confusing.
The same thing with heat.
Mm-hmm. So confusing. Anyway, I was a hot mess last night. Let's just leave it at that. So, moving on. We couldn't decide. They even asked us last night, what are you going to talk about in VSC? I don't know. Some of this is things we mentioned last night, and some of it's not.
I did realize one of the things we thought we were going to do, we didn't pull. So what we have on the table sounds good.
Yeah. I think we're just going to stick with what we have here on the table. Since we've already wasted, we don't even know how much time. And my lesson might be coming at 10, which is in 15 minutes, because I had to go to the post office and stuff. So we might have to tell her to sit and wait outside for a little bit, but let's get to what we can. Could be a short session.
So yesterday, UPS brought us 3 boxes. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yep.
One was Noro magazine.
New Noro magazine. So we thought we'd talk about magazines. Let's start with notions. Let's get that out of the way, right? New Noro.
New Noro.
And what did you notice about?
Okay, so when I opened the box, it was bottom up, and it's a mitered corner blanket out of Ito. I love it, but miters have become popular in, like, on Ravelry. There's more miters.
What does mitered mean? I'm gonna go grab another one of these magazines. Vamp, Liz. No, okay. No, explain.
It's almost the knitting version of granny squares. Only you, like, for this pattern here, this coat, it's got the mitered squares that they're done diagonally. So you start up here. Well, actually, you start here and then you get smaller and smaller and smaller because it's a bottom up coat, and then you sew in the gartered sleeves.
So it's almost like mini corner to corner but not really. Yeah. But yeah. But yeah, squares done on the diagonal.
Bigger version of it.
So Liz was caught her attention by that and went, ooh, and I'm like, really? Are you going to make that?
No, because you have to pick up stitches. At least with granny squares and crochet.
I mean,
you just knock them out.
Mm-hmm. Trying so hard.
I don't care.
No, but I was getting excited. I know you do. This is another philosophical back and forth thing of granny squares. You gotta sew a whole lot of crap together versus picking up stitches is its own, like, for someone who hates sewing, like, shout out to Sarah Beth, who like gave a little comment.
We do not see.
We do not sew. On my Instagram post, I love you, Sarah Beth. For someone who doesn't like seaming, this is awesome to pick up the stitches and build as you go. For someone who doesn't like picking up stitches, they want to do it the other way. So, different philosophies. There's so many different answers to questions like that. So I was just while you were doing that, but we're already moving on.
No worries.
Noro is known for their beautiful stripy,
gorgeous colors.
Beautiful colors that tend to look a little stripy. But just gorgeous, gorgeous colors. Look, vest.
They beautiful. Have some beautiful cowls.
We don't carry all the yarn that they are advertising in these magazines, but we have some of them, and we can find substitutes. So we just got this in. I'm going to try to get it up online. They want to add it to a purchase or just purchase it.
Instead of a pillow, they have zigzag blankets. Blankets take a lot of yarn.
Yeah, like this is Miyabi. I don't even know what yarn that is. But
they have smaller projects this time and not just the bigger projects. So it's a good mix of
the bigger projects can take a crap ton of yarn, and if that is what you love, awesome, have at it. But
I know that one is gorgeous.
I'm just flipping through. This has cables in it, and usually cables, you don't want to stripe the yarn because it may not show up, but those are such big cables that they actually show. And this is it's Miyabi. I have to figure out, Miyabi must be a new yarn of theirs.
Did you see that?
I have to figure out. I have to figure out if Miyabi is a yarn we want to bring in. We have a lot of Noro in the shop for a shop our size, though, or if we have something that might be a good substitute. Now I have to mention substitutes in Noro means completely different colorways. same yarn or same thickness or something, but we won't be able to get the colorways that you see in the magazine. But I usually look,
Sorry.
I usually look, see, she's getting me back. Or we're even or whatever. No, like a solid with a colored, like a variegated. I usually use Nora for inspiration. If I don't have that yarn itself, I use it as inspiration for using a different yarn, or just, you don't have to use Nora yarns to make Nora patterns. These are here's a big huge pillow with cables in it, right? What we're about to talk about, Vogue Knitting, they're actually both published by the same people, but we have both magazines in the shop. We have Vogue Knitting that came in several weeks ago. Vogue Knitting, we tend to have tons of back issues left. And we have pluses and minuses about Vogue Knitting that we find personally, but it's personal preference. Noro magazine, we don't tend to have much of any of them left over. They kind of go like hotcakes. If only because they're great to have on the counter and say, ooh, look how pretty.
They're beautiful, you know? Display.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we will get the Vogue Knitting up. Vogue Knitting was focusing on brioche, I think, which, you know, people either love or hate. I love it. I love brioche.
They have some pretty lacy stuff in this episode. I like it. This magazine as well. There's a couple of cowls. There's a lacy dress.
They pick colors every episode, every edition with Vogue Knitting, and like there's all these blues in there this time.
Blues, grays, and yellow.
Yeah,
Sun-dragony colors.
Sun-dragony colors. Everything's going to be Sun-dragon colors in here pretty soon, which is really funny because Sun-dragon colors were not my favorite colors before I opened the shop. I keep saying this. Vogue Knitting came in. This one came in like mid-pandemic, and I just maybe mentioned it once on one of our episodes, and then gone.
I might actually have to buy a Vogue magazine.
This is earth-shattering.
Because I don't...
Is it because it's a triangle shawl?
It's a triangle shawl, but look at it.
It's got lace in it.
It's a reversible lace.
Wow. Oh, because it's...
Might have no purling. I'm going to have to investigate further.
The lace work towards the top of that looks kind of like the lace pattern I'm doing in the Pollock right now.
Yeah.
So that is fascinating. It might very well be very, very similar. But the Pollock is going straight up, and so it's just even. This is coming out from a center spine like Liz likes to do. So, oh my gosh, this is awesome. I'm going to try to get both of these magazines.
Imagine that in a bigger size.
I think she's hooked. So we have probably 9 of those available for purchase when I put them up, because I think I either get them in 10s or 12s. We will have one less than one of those numbers by the time I get them up on stock, probably on shop. The last thing to mention before we before we move on to yarn is we do still have pom-poms available online. I think we have 2 or 3, maybe 4 of these left. I think we're holding 1 for 1 knitter. I have one at home, which I haven't really touched. So if we start to run low, I'll let it go. I'll let it go to someone else. But yes.
It's a size 2 needle.
Yeah, she's changing that. So, while she's looking.
Sorry, I'm done.
I have a follow-up to last week. Last week we talked about the Beeman reeds, and I have mine here. I've taken the batteries out because I put them in the purple one because I want to show you something cool we discovered when someone was shopping.
It's actually really cool. What do you need?
Prices for the Vogue and Noro. They should be on the covers there in the bottom corner so people know.
$9.99 for Vogue.
They might be both $9.99.
And $9.99.
They're $9.99.
No.
Pom-pom is closer to $20.25, something like that. Look online. That one's already there. So this, I can't go back to look at last week's episode of VSC to see how this works. You wear it and you flip it up and it turns on. I've taken the batteries out to show you something cool. Because this one, the one I have, which is like $25, something like that.
Only has 3.
Has 3 little lights in it. 3 lights. And this one, I was saying, the purple, isn't it so pretty? It's got 6. Now, when I was looking at the package, I'm like, there's a light switch. But you turn the small one on by flipping it up. You see that light switch down there? You see how it has numbers? Guess what? This one you still turn on by flipping up. And I know that's really bright, but it's on the 6 setting, which means all 6 lights are lit. You turn it, see how that got brighter and not so bright? And I'm sorry if that's, you know, sensory for somebody watching, but having it on the 3, if I can get this, I don't even know. Can you see how some lights are not, every other light is turned on there. If I turn it to 6, all the lights are on. 3, only half the lights are on. I was like, that is so cool. I've ordered more of the purple, and I've also ordered this size in black. And hopefully sometime next week, we will have both of those in stock. So, and the knitter who bought them last week, shout out to Marcia. She was like, oh, I really like the purple, but she was worried that it was going to be huge. And what I want to point out is the cases where the batteries go. That's the heaviest part of this. It's actually very lightweight. It takes 4 batteries. Once the batteries are in, it's a little heavier, but these are almost the same size. Like the
battery pack. The
battery pack is the exact same. This part is just wider, but look, it's not much bigger, just so you can compare the sizes. And the 6, the purple or the black will be the same price, $33.75 here at the shop. So, and I will get them online. I didn't get them online last week. I took pictures, but life has been crazy, and I will do my best to get them up later today. So that's it for the notions. What we thought we'd do for yarn today is
it's kind of a follow-up to other yarns,
yeah,
except couple new colors.
So let's start with the new colors, and then we'll start with the yarn that I don't think we've talked about yet, but is going to be fun. So
let's do the rainbows.
Okay. So we talked about Cumulus Rainbow, right? And we had new colors. This is the most rainbow-like color we had. It's called Cumulus Rainbow, but it's more about long
changey colorways.
Mm-hmm. And it is, I'm going to give this one to you for stats.
Okay.
It has a sticker on it, but remind us of the content.
It is 94% cotton and 6% nylon.
This chainette that is just, it's like the softest cotton we have in the shop.
One of our knitters, shout out to Amanda, did a rainbow papillon
with that.
Out of this. And she started from the outside and went to the inside, and then inside, outside, outside, inside, to where it all.
And it was so beautiful.
went.
And
Oh
there's the littlest bit of like fuchsia in the center of that, because it might not seem super rainbow, but it is.
The fuchsia in the middle.
And I went to reorder. We have a neutral one, we have a blue one, and we have a pastel one that we did in a previous VSC. Yep. I don't remember which one. And I went to reorder that because we only have half of the bag left. We only have 5 left because Amanda used the other 5. And it's a beautiful color, and it's out of stock. So, but then I said, okay, there's another rainbow one I didn't get before. That's actual rainbow, because we got this one. I was like, this one's more fun. So that one is Aurora Borealis, right?
Yep.
This is called Great Reef. And I'm like, well, let me just get it. You know, and you never know how it's going to be wrapped. Like the picture online of this has the red on the outside. This has this like purpley red on the outside. And look, oh my gosh.
It rainbows.
It's yummy rainbow.
Yeah.
It's that one does have a, I wanted to compare. Yeah. This one doesn't have as much yellow, right? But it's got a nice orange in it. It's got red. It's got a fuchsia purple, but not as bright fuchsia as that. It has a green and blue.
This Beautiful. One, the blue is almost more teal. Mm-hmm. Like this one's a bright.
That's more jewel tone.
Jewel toned, yeah.
This is more straight up rainbow. Although it's a red purple instead of a purple. But,
going over this,
but there's purple in here.
Going over the stats again. You're fine. I was trying to interrupt you and it didn't work. Anyway,
because I just railroaded through here. Go ahead.
Stats for 100 grams, you get 251 yards, or 229 meters for those that like metric. It's hand wash, lay flat to dry. Size 4 medium yarn. 16 to 20 stitches over 4 inches on a 7 to 9 needles. Mm-hmm. And for crochet, use an I to a K.
This is the big sample we had. Actually, this might be the Great Barrier, like the color that's on the table, which I said we didn't have.
which we didn't have until today.
Yeah, but does this have?
It's like that and the peach that we
This
don't.
is.
Oh
Yeah,
wait,
okay.
we do.
We don't have the peach. We don't have the orange. We have a peach. Carla is here.
I know. Would you like?
I'm up, so I will go talk to her. But this is if you ignore the orange and look at the color that changes, that is this. All right. I'm gonna let Carla know that we are still filming and we will be out to talk to her in a second.
I will do
Liz
bamboo bloom.
gets to vamp.
So we've had bamboo bloom in the shop. It is the coolest, quickest Christmas present idea. I wound so much of this last year for Christmas. This is our sample. It's a thick, thin. It's an infinity cowl. I want to say Rebecca cast on 110 stitches, and you knit the thin stuff and you purl the thick stuff. And we got new colors. Well, before I do the new colors, here's most all of our old colors, and it goes down further that you can't see. But we got new colors. We got, this one's Happy New Year, or just New Year. It's got a nice peach, but there are some dark purpley spots in there. We got, this one came in the last batch that we've not updated. This one's Bonsai. I could have sworn, okay. Anyway, Bonsai. We have a kimono one that's new too.
We do?
I thought so.
Kimono like we've had before. I'm moving this out of the way because look at all these pretty colors.
Bonsai is just gorgeous light blues, light teals, light greens, and some grays.
There's like a hint of brown in some of the skeins.
Yeah.
Some of the skeins.
This one almost looks like watermelon.
That one's so pretty.
It's cherry blossom, but very spring. This one looks like a birthday party, and it's kanji.
Kanji. A lot of what we have are blue tones and things, and that has some warm tones in it, so it's so fun. We'll take pictures before we go home.
And this one's my favorite. Please, 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 somebody buy it so I don't have... It's called Dragon. It's red and gray with little bits of yellow, but there are some of the most beautiful reds in it. Like,
not like super dark reds, but you know.
But compared to the colors in the skein, some of them look darker than, but it just,
And we had racy reds, but we're out of it. And we got New Year as a replacement. But we might bring racy reds back in too, because this is, you can never tell from online. This is a softer color palette than we thought. But yeah, all these back here, you can see more close-up pictures online. We photographed them in bunches because we can only put so many photos online.
You get 154 yards or 140 meters per 100 grams, which is enough to do one. Just like Rebecca did, like 110. Anyway, bigger, you're going to want more. But it is 48% bamboo. It's rayon from bamboo. 44% wool, 8% acrylic. Just holding everything together. They're recommending a US 9, and I want to say you did a 9
The pattern
or a 10.
calls for like a 10 or a 10 and a half. And yeah, the smaller sections, I know Liz probably already talking about this, but smaller sections of the bamboo, and it's a little shiny, and the bigger puffs are the wool. And this, the pattern, Liz may or may not have mentioned, the pattern is no longer available online, but we have copies of it, or there's things very similar to this online that you can find. So
we are selling it for $12.95 a skein.
People always say like, ooh, I want that one. And this is the new dye lot of this one. And some of them have more of the gray dark color than others. But it's skein to skein. It's hand painted. 90% of these skeins are hand painted, so they will be different. That's just what it is.
Yeah.
So.
It's awesomeness.
And the quick one skein projects. So popular in the shop. Love it. I'll get more of them on. The listing's already up. The new colors I hope to have up today or tomorrow. So
the last thing we have is everybody's seen Rebecca's Papillon, her monarch butterfly. That is made out of Heritage Wave.
From Cascade.
From Cascade. We brought in, a little bit ago, we brought in some Superwash 220 Wave. these are a couple of the older colors.
And Superwash is a light worsted yarn, washable wool, not merino, but washable wool. But it's got the same idea as the fingering weight. Like I'm gonna get a couple of these colors in fingering weight to compare, but you keep going.
It's pretty much the same thing, but so it'll wave through the colors, like it'll fade.
Slow fade. Yay!
This is the solar in the worsted that Rebecca did, or well, worsted DK, that Rebecca did her papillon. So if anybody's like, I want to make a bigger papillon, just like Rebecca, but bigger like Liz, you could do a monarch butterfly.
This is the, here, hold it up. This is the fingering weight. That is the DK / worsted, light worsted weight. This is an example. This is crocheted, and it is the fingering weight. The pink color, not the darker color that looks kind of black on screen. But you can see how the color shifts and waves, right? This is the fingering weight. That's the DK. So if you're like, fingering weight can kiss my bum, do something in the DK.
These we sell for $12.95. You get 220 yards per skein, twist, whatever. They're recommending a 6 to a 7. I think it would be glorious on an 8 to a 10.
Soft and lovely.
It is machine wash and machine dry.
I'm looking for my shift.
And for crochet, they're recommending a 6 or a G, a 7, or an H.
I don't know where my shift went.
Oh no.
We'll have to find that before. It's not done in Superwash Wave. But it's the idea of, I don't know. It's the idea of what you could do it in this. If you don't want to do it in our fancy feeder book, which is so lovely, do it in this.
This one is like rainbow.
And we have a fingering weight rainbow. It's not as pastel-y, but you can see the difference in thickness.
Yeah. Then there's the brown.
Oh, I didn't bring a brown over.
Anyway,
woodsy.
We have petunia is a new color. One. And it kind of has purples and...
We're missing one.
What are we missing?
There's one that's like that, but it's darker. Keep going.
Oh, oops.
It looks just like it.
Anyway,
but it's not.
It's got lighter purples mixed with the almost a reddy purple. It's really pretty. And then graphite, which is all the grays. Dark and pretty right here.
And we have that fingering too.
Yes.
Yeah. This one is, I don't have the name of it. It's coming untwisted. We haven't stickered this one yet. So it's color number 104. And in the bag, it will look like the petunia, but it is more, it's darker. And light is not helping show it off right now.
No, but it looks darker up close.
It's got reds, like Liz was just saying, reds and blues and purples.
But it's the darker end of the petunia.
It's like navy almost in here, like a light navy, which just does awesome things. So if you wanted to make a shift, Andrea Mowry shift, which is written for spin cycle, and then there's the night shift, which is a whole shawl. And then there are, there's a sweater, there's a shifty, there's, the whole idea is you have,
these are endless.
I know. But the idea is that you are using mosaic, slipping stitches, pockets of other colors. If I can find it before tomorrow, we'll show you tomorrow. And when you use two different colors that both wave through the colors, then, losing my train of thought because I'm still recovering from my migraine. But if you use two different colors that shift through the colors, then you just have all this awesomeness happening. And it doesn't look like it's shifting. It just looks like a million colors in there.
And you want super contrasting.
You want colors you don't think are going to go together, and it's beautiful. And so, you know,
those two would work.
Like, and even throwing in this or throwing in the gray or who knows? Like, we'll put together some color combos this week or next week. I'm trying to get some new feeder book in. So when we have that in, we can make the fancy feeder book shift combos, and then we can make some Superwash 220 combos, wave combos, and then you can pick what you want.
And the cool thing is you don't, like, the shift was written for using all of, like, all Superwash, but you can throw solids in.
Yeah, all waving, all color changing, but the one I have that I can't find right now, I only had like one color of color fading yarn left in the shop. So we did it with 2 solids and it looks awesome. So you can pick and choose. So you can pick one of these with some solids. We might put together some kits for that too. Or I would love to do one with 3 color changing yarns. I just didn't have that when I made my sample.
Ooh.
And then life means I can't make another one right now.
I know where my night shift is tomorrow. So if we're talking about that tomorrow, my night shift isn't as far done as everybody thinks, but it is in colors that should not be found in the same room together. And everybody was like, Liz. And I'm like, it'll work. And they're like, those colors look ugly together. Like, I purposely picked out colors should not be found in the same room.
So awesome. Consider it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we might talk about it tomorrow. We might wait until next week. Like, because hopefully if the feeder brook gets here in time, although she said end of this week, beginning of next week, which means, and feeder brook, by the way, this stuff, yay, which means it might not be here in time for VSC next week. And it's going to be repeats of the same colors, I think. I might get a couple colors we haven't seen in a while in the shop. But we'll revisit it and we'll get it up for you to make your own shift. Now, the shift cowl is only needs 3 skeins of yarn. It's a smaller type project. fits smaller budgets, or like, I don't feel like spending an arm and a leg today, a little better. Although this is less, this is 1 arm and a leg, which is Feeder Brook Farm would be 2 arms and 2 legs. The night shift needs like what, 6 or
7.
Yeah. It needs a lot. So it's much bigger. It's a shawl versus a triangular cowl you can throw on and go and look like you wrapped a shawl around yourself. Anyway, Carla's waiting for me. So I'm going to sign on. We're going to sign off so I can go help her before any storms might hit. Yes, I wait. So we love y'all. Stay tuned tomorrow for a straight up side. I almost said side by side show. But we're going to both be here. We're still side by side, but you know.
Wait a minute. It's tomorrow. Tomorrow is Thursday. I was thinking tomorrow is Friday for some reason. Oh my gosh.
It's been a long week.
Tomorrow is the adventures of Liz and Rebecca. Straight up.
Yeah. Maybe we'll talk about how crazy yesterday was in more detail, but maybe not. Because we should go.
Yeah.
Anyway.
For those that know, it was Vikings.
We
love you.
They laid siege instead of pillaging. And if you're like, what? We'll explain that tomorrow. Stay safe, everybody. Subscribe, like, all those lovely things. Share us with people who need to find out about our loving community. Because now, like with Mary Lou, even if you've never met us, you are one of us. And you belong in the community. One of us. One of us. One of us. Join us for knit night. We would love to meet you or say hi. And I'm going to hit end.